Charles used to do that. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. It is now 7:02. I will call into session the Northborough School Committee for our open meeting of Wednesday, April 4th, 2018. And we start this evening's meeting off with the public hearing of the fiscal year 2019 budget.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Before we begin and open with the public hearing, we do have a slight edit to the prior approved FY 2019 budget. We were informed by our town manager that we were $610 short of a rounding 3.5% increase. And so there is a slight adjustment up to the budget of $610, which has been reflected in our special ed tuition out line item, which brings the total budget for FY 2019 to $24,265,593, which reflects that 610 round up adjustment in the budget. If it's the will of the committee, we may want to recommend that we move forward and revote the approved budget to reflect that amount before we read the budget into public hearing.
I move that we vote for the revised budget that will be submitted for the public hearing at the end of the month in the amount of $24,265,593.
Second.
Any discussion? And all in favor? Thank you.
And anticipating that having $610 more to consider for our FY19 budget was a good thing. The public hearing document before you and the actual approved budget, we'll change that cover to be reapproved or revoted as of this evening, is actually what's in your packet. So that tuition line item, the sped line item, is up $610. So I believe we can proceed with the actual public hearing at this point. This is an annual event prior to town meeting where the budget is actually read into record. And so the Northborough Public School Committee has identified its priorities for the FY 2019 budget. These budget priorities are included in the public hearing document and of course are part of our conversations each month. We reflect on those budget priorities which serve to prove and to be the foundation as we continue our budget discussions throughout the budget season. The Northborough School Committee is committed to providing an excellent education for all students in a cost-effective manner. It commits to a strong, cooperative working relationship with town governments in the development of the school budget and the involvement in parents and community as active partners with our school district. The budget priorities and the mission of the Northborough School Committee serve as guiding principles by creating a framework for discussion and decisions taking place throughout the budget process. A copy of the FY 2019 School Committee voted and approved line item budget is available online through the central office, and additionally, copies are available this evening. I will be providing a total of the FY19 budget subcategories by function code as part of the public hearing process. The school committee will invite comments at the end of the reading of the FY 2019 budget. Function 1000, District Leadership and Administration, includes school committee fiscal audit and the Northborough Public Schools portion of district-wide administration, staff and operations, including the superintendent, assistant superintendent, finance and administrative services, human resources, administrative technology, and legal services. $787,350. Function 2000, Instructional Services, includes supervision, principal's office expenditures, building technology, teacher salaries, teacher specialist salaries, substitutes, library media, salaries and equipment, professional development, textbooks, instructional materials, instructional equipment, general supplies, instructional technology, hardware and software, and guidance. $12,708,582. Function 3000, Other Student Services, includes health services, student transportation, and student body activities. $1,005,933. Function 4000 includes operation and maintenance of buildings defined by custodial services, custodial supplies, heating, electricity, telephone, gas, and gasoline, water, sewer, maintenance of buildings, maintenance of equipment, networking and telecommunications, technology maintenance, and maintenance of grounds, $1,723,888. Function 5,000 includes fixed charges, and in our budget, those reflect rental of land and building equipment, $28,988, for a total regular education budget of $16,254,741, representing a 1.6% increase. Those function codes are mirrored to reflect special education expenditures, and not repeating all of the same language, but moving through the same function codes. Function 1,000 includes legal services, administrative technology instruction, $34,200. Function 2,000, instructional services, includes the Northborough's portion of the director, assistant director of student support, and also salaries for teachers and specialized support personnel, professional development, instructional technology, and psychological services, $5,636,701. Function 3,000, other student services, includes again special education, health services, and transportation, $798,315. Function 4,000, operation and maintenance of buildings, includes new equipment and maintenance, $8,300. Fixed charges, function 5,000, $2,186. Function 9,000 includes programs non-public schools, which is payments of tuition to out-of-district educational placements, $1,531,150. The line expenditure in the operational budget is offset by out-of-district tuitions charged to circuit breaker reimbursement, totaling $842,317. Total special education budget, $8,010,852, or 7.5% increase. Total FY 2019 operational budget reflects a total amount, $24,265,593. This is a 3.5% over the FY 18 budget, for a total of $820,576. That concludes the public hearing, the reading of the document.
Thank you. Seeing as this is a public hearing, I will now open it up to the public for questions or comments. Any response from the public? Okay. Hearing none, I will close the public hearing portion of the agenda. And we will move into our first regular item is action on the minutes, and the first item under that is action on the open meeting minutes of January 3rd, 2018.
I move that we accept the open meeting minutes for Tuesday, February 13th.
And
Is that the right one?
We
I'm sorry,
can- we can
January
do-
3rd, I'm sorry.
If you wanna
Wrong one,
we
January
can-
3rd, 2018.
if you want to combine them,
Yes.
I'm okay with that. If you want to
I'll move for
make
both.
a motion for both,
That's fine.
move that we approve both.
Seconded.
Any comments or concerns, questions about them? All in favor? Abstain? On both?
I'll approve the February, which I was at, and abstain on the January,
Okay.
which I was not.
Should be-
Thank you.
And first item, under new business, the school improvement plan and PTO presentation. Are we welcoming PTO presentation?
This is quite a moment for Principal Witten, I am sure, as this will be, unfortunately, the last Z School improvement.
The PTO has denied the return
We have
request.
also, note the hesitation in the statements,
It's not the
Sophia
last one
concurs.
from the Z School, it's the last one
From
that I
Principal
will be
Witten.
presenting.
Absolutely.
There you go.
I told you we denied the
I
request.
know.
I mean,
I've
come on.
heard from my PTO, they don't want to, they voted to not accept that, so appreciate it. I have the great
Pretty sure we're the
pleasure-
boss.
There you go. I have the great pleasure to introduce Heather Baer to you this evening. Heather, along with Christina D'Arienzo, are the PTO co-chairs at Z School this year. I'm very fortunate to work with both of them. They take on different roles, which is great. We have a very vibrant PTO, as you'll hear from Heather, and I will do your distributions for you. How's that? All right.
Should keep one.
Keep one.
Thank you for being here this evening.
No problem. Although a sign out front telling me where the library was would have been really great. It's like I'll just wander around and find people.
They're younger, so
They're
they've not
little.
been in
They're
this
little.
building before.
Our extent of Milliken is
Yeah.
gym, cafeteria,
First floor.
field.
Yep.
Usually it is written on the board when you come in the main, right, that main entrance is the big whiteboard there. It usually does say,
There's a
Second
lot of
floor.
warnings about soccer tonight. You know, no cleats, no, so big soccer night, clearly. Oh, I get to go before you? Oh. So as Mrs. Whitten has said, I am co-chairing the PTO this year with Christina D'Arienzo. This is our first year as co-chairs, and we have the privilege of working with the new treasurer as well. To say it's been a learning experience would be a slight underestimate. While I've been teaching for 20 years, I have not been on this side of the PTO. I've been teacher representative, but now I get to be a parent, and it's definitely been exciting. We do a tremendous amount of fundraising at Z because we want to make sure to be able to provide enrichment activities for the students and also any supplements that we can towards teacher grants and make sure that, universal design for learning is being engaged, that kids are really having the opportunity to explore multiple modalities while learning in the classroom. This year, our major fundraising activities have been the Square One Art Program, which is currently ongoing. If anybody would like to place an order, the deadline is Friday, April 6th. That goes for you, too.
I know.
Obviously, school pictures and our cookie sales are one of our biggest fundraisers of the year. And next year, we actually voted as a PTO to incorporate some healthier options. We'll be offering frozen soups and also frozen oatmeals and single-serve things that have more of a leaning towards a little bit less of the saturated fat and sugar content. I will still be buying a lot of cookies, I won't lie. The environmental team has the green recycling, including this year, 2,500 pounds of textiles were recycled through Z. We do 2 book fairs, one in the fall through Best Book Fairs, and then our spring book fair actually just concluded with Scholastic. And even though we were snowed out of our evening parent come-by books, it was a very successful book fair because we chose to add some online ordering options for families that were not able. Mrs. Whitten graciously opened the school for parents to come in and do some shopping, but we had the online portion as well. I haven't gotten my credit card bill yet, but we'll see. We also did Muya Night, and our major event this spring is Kids Fest. And this will actually be our last year doing our traditional daytime Kids Fest on a Saturday. This year it is Saturday, May 19th. We will have, all of the traditional Kids Fest activities, including our silent auction and the basket raffles. Ongoing fundraisers include the box tops for education, script gift cards, the Bay State textile recycling, which all of the schools participate in, to the best of my knowledge, with the boxes at the school. We also are open to direct donations, and we've been working with myschoolstore.com this year, which has actually resulted in a lot of direct donations in the form of gift cards for teachers to purchase supplies for their classrooms or supplemental materials such as, leveled readers, markers, and whatnot. So last year, over $15,000 went back to Z, and we're on pace for about the same this year. And I am not the treasurer, so if you ask me a detail, I will just be like, oh, I think I have to go, my phone is ringing. We were able to obtain the 501c3 status at the conclusion of last school year, which is fantastic. It has opened us up to receiving matching donations from a variety of employers, of their parents, and we're still working on adding additional employers to that matching program. But we spend it, we spend the money, we're not holding on to it. We provide classroom grants for classroom setup for all teachers in the school. We also this year provided an academic grant for a special activity like yoga through our gym class. We provide field trip subsidies, and we also throw a bunch of fun events. I'm sure similar to what other schools do. We do the staff welcome lunch, holiday breakfast. During Staff Appreciation Week, we'll have several different activities. And this year we added the teacher conference night as a treat the teachers day. So baked goods, coffee, and whatnot to be delivered throughout the day, because as a teacher myself, I know it's a long day. You're meeting with a lot of families, and it's long. We also have the Halloween dance and the read aloud night. And this year, some of our enrichment activities, and over the past year, have been the Crocodile River Music, who are coming back in May, and you will all be notified because they are going to be doing an event that is open to families from all of the schools, all of the 6 schools in town. We did the Discovery Museum, the Rocks and Minerals, the Money Trail. We have a Caterpillar program coming in to work with, I don't remember which grade.
K to 5.
K to 5, so all of the grades. We also try to do a lot of outreach as well. We've participated in Project Linus, the backpacks and school supplies. We've done several drives for the Northborough Food Pantry, the Thanks for Yanks, which was the sock drive, which was extremely successful. But I think kind of what makes every school their school is the spirit events. The Halloween dance is so much fun, the Mount Pisgah hike, the pancake breakfast, which we just had on March 17th, and it was, I've never seen Z so crowded. Legitimately. I was like, oh, where's my pancake? Where can I eat it? We also have a field day, which this year is coming up June 14th. Correct?
As late as we can hold it, yeah.
Yep, and my PD day is in for that, and my personal day is request. Does anybody have any questions about what the PTO does and where we spend our money and whatnot? I've never been to a school committee meeting, so this is like really exciting. I'm like, hi.
Well, first of all, thank you for doing what you do to help the Z community enrich the experience that especially the kids and the staff have within the building. You mentioned the Kids Fest. This is going to be the last one during the day. What will that become?
All right, so hear this. So, Kids Fest is awesome. It's wonderful, and it's really, really difficult to get volunteers. Between the silent auction and the raffle baskets and the cakewalk and the outside concessions and the bouncy houses. Obviously our goal is for the kids to have fun, but we need to have an appropriate volunteer ratio to ensure safety. And we are always able to provide that. I don't want there to be any question there. However, as more and more families are having potentially more than one parent working full-time, it has been really difficult to have the planning. We also have the Halloween dance, which is pretty epic. I mean, it's an incredible, I know, but it's the only word, really. It's great. You have kids in costumes. So this year, we're going to turn that into a harvest festival. So instead of, we've looked at some of the other schools do an after-school Friday evening 5 to 8 p.m. event that is wildly successful. We just had 2 weeks ago, all of the PTOs met together. So all the PTO chairs and boards met together on a Sunday afternoon and kind of hashed out what works, what doesn't work. Where are our struggles and how can we work together? And we have been considering shifting to a shorter time period and after school. So we're going to roll in most of those wildly popular Kids Fest events into the Halloween dance. Whether we will call it the, Kids Fest Harvest Edition, the wording is still to be seen, but, we already have a huge dance going on. So why not add the activities that are our primary fundraisers when parents are already there? So that is what the PTO proposed, and Mrs. Whitten was totally on board, and that was before I found out she was retiring. But
Saying that's why I
no, so we are wildly optimistic that we'll be able to bring in the same amount of funds, if not more, as well as maximize our volunteer base.
Well, yeah, it sounds like a great plan.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. And we also added Booster-thon, which is one of those like fun run kind of activities. And we met with the Booster-thon representatives at the January, one of our PTO meetings to get more information on that, and we are going to move forward with that as an activity in February to promote being active and incorporate that into a fundraiser.
Well, again, please convey our thanks to Christina and everybody else on the PTO.
Will do.
That participates, and keep it up. We look forward to hearing from you next year.
They
Thank you
always
for
bring
all
in
your
great ideas, there's always a lot of energy, it's always, just a great way for families to connect with us. So I'm grateful to Heather and to Christina and the rest of the board for their work there, so.
We have
So
a
you-
great time.
Yes, we do. We have a very good time. Thank you.
Do I go?
Thank you. You can.
You can go. That wasn't so bad, was it?
Do you know how much babysitters pay per hour? Charge per hour? Let's be honest.
Talk to you later. Thank you so much, Heather. So, we'll move from all the fun stuff to the serious stuff, but they're kind of mixed together. So yes, this is my final presentation of my final school improvement plan. The interesting thing is, I think we were supposed to present this at some snowstorm day in February. So we're probably halfway through this plan by now, so I hope you approve it. Our school is a vibrant, exciting place to be, not just because of the parents who are there, but certainly the children who come through our door each day. It has been my goal each year to have something different, something exciting taking place, and I think I've been successful with that. I have certainly been helped over the years by PTO, but then also my school council, which we had our first school council 19 years ago. Did you serve on school council at Z at one point in time? Jeff?
I did not.
You did not,
But
okay. We've had some
Sue
others.
might have, and she was PTO co-chair,
There you go.
which automatically made me the automatic volunteer
There you go.
for Kids Fest, so.
So I've been really fortunate to work with a different type of volunteer through the school councils. I find that it's a different population of parents who might not want to be so involved in the fundraising aspect and the planning aspect, but more on the advisory piece. We've rotated teachers through so that some teachers are serving in their second year rotation of the school council. This past year, been very fortunate to work with our teaching staff, Michelle Dallaire, Stephanie Dennington, and Mary Ellen Remillard. Our parent representatives included Lisa Gaskamp, Mike O'Connell, Rajit Seth, and Deirdre Writing. So these are parents who are working parents. We have our meetings at 7:30 in the morning, once every 6 to 8 weeks, so it works. And they're parents who want to advise on budget and programming at the school. Many of them do get involved with the volunteer piece, but I do find that it's a different type of volunteer that wants to serve on the school council. I will say that our greatest challenge with school council is finding a community representative. So some of these people have agreed to stay on as community reps because their children are moving on. So, but they've been very helpful in putting our plan together. Clearly, we work closely with the strategic plan. We are very well connected to what the district's goals are. As a long-standing member of the Northborough school community, I've been really excited to see the level of continuity that's developed from the strategic plans and across our schools. I think we've made great progress, not just at the Z school, but across the district over the years, and I feel that we've done a great job of staying in tune to what the district's goals are. In addition to that, we have our own personal pieces that the Z School works towards. We have our building-based expectations for how we are at school. We're very consistent across all environments in our school to sustain a safe school experience for our students and for our staff. So our school constitution has kind of been that document that guides us through every day at school. Our teachers have participated in its creation, as have the students. But that sets our tone for the year, for each year. So just to give you a little bit of a recap from our accomplishments from our last plan, we worked very closely on our communication part. which was part of the strategic plan. This year, we shifted it to a weekly communication packet, which is online. We have a growing Twitter population out there, so we have some of you who chime in on our Twitter posts. And then classrooms and special subject news. We've moved away from a traditional newsletter to more online presentation of our school. We have been working to align our curriculum instruction within areas of reading, writing, math, and science, technology, engineering. We have expanded our use of technology across our school with devices for our students that are readily available to staff and to students over the course of the day, as well as assessments that monitor student growth and development. Our biggest project the last few years is building and developing a school-wide approach to building resiliency and positive supports for students so that, if you want to call it, discipline looks more holistic, that we're working with children to develop expected means of being at school and setting that tone in a positive way. So moving on from that, for this year and next year, we have two goals. They'll look fairly similar to the goals that my colleagues have developed. And again, it's that building that consistency across our schools so that we have a common group of students who arrive at the middle school, both in curriculum and also in social emotional development. So our first goal for this year and next is that the Z School faculty and staff will extend and refine their knowledge of curriculum, instructional practices, and assessment tools to collaboratively provide our students with rigorous 21st century and individualized instruction to improve student learning. And our second goal focuses on that social emotional well-being for our students, that our students will be provided with a range of supports and instructional practices through our positive behavioral interventions and supports, PBIS, to address their varied levels of social, emotional health and wellness by all members of the Z School community. Well, what does that look like for us? I'm a big believer that pictures tell stories, so this will be pictures, no songs, though. So clearly, our staff needs professional time to work together. We have built in and will continue to provide both common planning time for our staff as well as our professional learning communities. We have each of those sessions take place on a weekly basis, so our staff has a total of 6 periods over the course of a week where they can sit down together and work. Here's our second grade staff. I believe they were working on some writing assessments during this time. They have time to collaborate not just in planning for instruction, looking at materials, but also at looking at assessments and the assessment data that's coming in from the students in real time. Our special education staff is looking forward to having a similar professional learning community next year. We've not been able to set aside a specific time for the special education staff. We are looking at that through our scheduling for the upcoming school year because it's not just classroom teachers who need that collaborative time. It's the people who are providing the interventions and supports for our students. Our professional world in the teaching of science has definitely skyrocketed last year and this because the expectations from the state have changed, the district's expectation for curriculum have changed, and we are right in step with making those changes. Thus far, we have implemented the life science unit, which was part of our plan from last year. This year, we are introducing and engineering was last year as well, our physical science piece this year. We are looking forward to extending that to next year, which will be earth science. And here are some of our lovely 4th graders with hands-on into our squids. So we do some hands-on dissection, if you will, so as part of that life science for our 4th grade. We've had lots of professional development opportunities that we're wrapping into our practices in the classroom this year. Our staff worked with the other classroom teacher grade levels and schools with Graham Fletcher for professional development in mathematics. We are starting to bring in 3-act tasks to the classrooms that are real-life, real-world math problems as part of our instructional practices. We've done work with our reading notebooks and with Patty Wright in writing calibration, and we will continue on that path for next year. Mrs. Villafleur, Mrs. Dallaire getting tuned up for their work with the life science unit with the squids. I think Mrs. Villafleur was happy about that. You'll notice she has the gloves on. Mrs. Dallaire was getting comfortable with that. So. Our assessments, we're working along with the district to implement assessments that cover multiple types of data. First and foremost, we do use our MCAS data. We know that that comes at different points in times. It's not always readily in front of us, but when it arrives, we take that apart to look at how we're progressing with curriculum. We are using assessments for real-time math, the 3-act tasks. We're looking at hands-on assessments, such as projects that students have created and developed over time, and also using student-developed tasks. So here are 2 students who are sharing a book talk. They're creating a stop-action film that represents the story that they've read. So they're sharing their comprehension through a different model than just speaking about their work. So obviously integrating technology in there as well as a natural part of their being at school. Some of our children are very comfortable with using technology to show what they know. Other students are coming up to speed with that. So we will be expanding our use of that type of assessment over time, and obviously for next school year, where our expectation is that we will have even more devices that are available to our students. We are using Chromebooks across the school. We're using iPads across the school because the platforms for both of them touch different things for our students. So that keeps pace with our curriculum piece for our contributions to the strategic plan for our within the district. Our second goal, our action items, have to do with providing students and staff with the means of looking at social and emotional health. We have placed a great deal of our energy into mindfulness this year. I'm very grateful to the Northborough Ed Foundation, to the Corridor 9 Chamber of Commerce, and to the ZPTO for funding a variety of types of experiences for our students and for our staff. We've worked with Erin Wu, who came to us from the UMass Center for Mindfulness. Susan Berger, our school nurse, wrote the grant for that. Erin has come to the school on a number of different occasions. She's done 2 staff training sessions. She did a parent evening for us, and then she's done 2 sessions with our students to teach them mindfulness practices of how to better regulate themselves, how to calm themselves in times of stress, and then to be a bit more aware of who they are in the moment. So the teacher training took place in the fall and the spring, as did the student piece. We've had pieces in our newsletter. And many of the teachers are bringing in their own practices and strategies. We're looking to bring another speaker in the beginning of the next school year to continue looking at how do we build that in over the course of the day. The Chamber of Commerce very kindly purchased for us a school-wide set of a text called Mindfulness for Teachers that we've been using as a book study. There are 6 chapters in the book, so once a month we have our staff meetings focus on a chapter in the book. We'll talk about what's the reflections are, the research, and practices that teachers can bring to themselves because teaching is such a stressful occupation. To calm themselves in the moment, to be more readily available to students, more patient, more mindful of their interactions across the day. So we're heading, again, snow delays. We're heading into our 3rd discussion for the month of April. We were able to also bring in a yoga program for our students, and again, that came from Corridor 9 and from the ZPTO. As Heather mentioned, we've used our enrichment funds for that as well. Eve Castorelli came to our school for a day. She worked with each grade level for about 45 minutes, teaching different practices in yoga in a very child-friendly way. To have 40 students on yoga mats in the gym following along with her and learning how to breathe and calm their bodies, how to expand themselves, to take that time in the moment to be calm. They did partner yoga, how to work with another person. And then obviously the best part of yoga is at the end when you go into your resting pose. Great feedback from the students, great feedback from staff. Some teachers have brought the practice into their classroom. And again, this is our first year moving through some of this, so we're very pleased with the progress that we're making with that. Susan Berger is doing some pre-assessment and post-assessment with particular classes in the school, just to get a sense of how students are viewing their level of regulation and their level of calmness. We do see that a lot of our students come to school with anxious behaviors. They worry about things. So being able to take a read beginning of the school year and the end of the school year of how are you managing that stress and anxiety over the course of the day. So she has a grade at the primary levels, intermediate levels, and I believe one of the 5th grade classes. So just picking up some data to see, is this really helping our students? Is it helping our staff? I do see our staff using things over the course of the day, so I know that we're making some nice traction there. Additionally, as part of our PBIS pieces, we've been bringing in not just our own expectations for students, but certainly some outside programs that keep us all on the same wavelength. We have upcoming training sessions offered by staff at our staff meetings on zones of regulation and social thinking. Our April 30th staff meeting will focus on that. Our school psychologist and one of our and our occupational therapist will be leading that. Additionally, they've built a calm down bulletin board in the hallway in one of our wings as a place where students are too excited or not able to calm themselves in the classroom. They can go out to bulletin board in the hallway, pick one of the items from the menu, calm themselves, and then return to classroom. So teaching children, not just the adults telling you to do this, but find something that works for you in the moment. And definitely a lot of modeling by the staff. Our school year began with staff setting intentions for the year. I did include in your plan a copy of an article that we used at our first staff meeting, as well as a little postcard as a reminder over the course of the year. Many of my colleagues used this. I believe Jen Carson was the one who sourced this one for us, so I will give credit where it's due. But we spent the year talking about our own roles in the school and how we can positively impact that, and conversely, how we can negatively impact that. So I felt that the article was one that you might be interested in. It's what's guided us through the year. We start each staff meeting with a discussion about who's been a marigold so far. You know, you have a report to give us on somebody who's done something to help you grow and develop and has encouraged you and supported you. And that's been our theme as a staff this year. As I mentioned, we did our mindfulness for parents. We do find that parents are similarly stressed and anxious as our students are, so sharing what we're learning on the school setting and flipping it so that families can use these practices at home was very helpful. Erin Wu again did that program for us as an evening program, which we did open to the community, so there were Z-School people, but also they felt comfortable to invite friends in the town with them. This has been our year of kindness. We pick a theme, and again, I think similar to our my sister schools here, we spent the year looking at the concept of kindness. It was prompted a little bit by Hollywood because the book Wonder was turned into a film. We used that as a text in our school as Wonder, and then with our younger students, the picture book of We Are All Wonders, to set that tone of it's our job to be kind to the people around us. We're not perfect at it. Students clearly don't have the best examples from the nightly news about being kind, but we will do our part at school. So selecting that theme that guides us through the year for our staff and for our students. We have had a great start to our look at cultural proficiency, which is better understanding of each other. You'll notice that our goals for this are to expand our work in this area. So we partnered last year with students from Algonquin who were ELL students. Our ELL teacher worked with the Algonquin ELL teacher, and they brought their experiences into our school. They talked about their cultures, where they were from, their life experiences there, their transition into the United States and how that was for them. So we are continuing with that for this coming school year. Last year it was a small snippet. We've set aside a full day of having the students from Algonquin come and work with us again. Alexandra Lento, who's our ELL teacher, has worked very closely with the ELL department at Algonquin to make that happen. Our teachers have been providing the staff with information about the types of experiences that will be valuable to our students. The month of May, there is a World Day of Cultures that the United Nations identified. We've, because of our schedule, tried to break it apart and offer lots of different things. So this year's agenda, in addition to the high school program, is to have an author come to our school and talk about her culture. So it's the ever wonderful Farhana Zia, who some of you know very fondly, a retired teacher at Z School who has written, I believe now she has her third book out. She definitely has some different life experiences of having grown up, studied in India, moved to the United States, and shares her continuing experiences with culture with our students. We will be continuing with our music and dance pieces. Heather said we've yet again been able to bring Crocodile River in. They will be doing a music and dance program with us on a workshop day in May, but then they'll be coming back to us for our school-wide World Day of Cultures, which I would love for you to come to if you have the time. They will be doing an afternoon program for us, and then we'll be opening it in the evening for an evening cultural experience for our community. And that will be open to the public. In addition to that, our art teachers are building in visual representations of different cultures. So on top of Crocodile River, we will also be having our art show that evening to represent art from different cultures. And I think one of these young ladies will be familiar to somebody here. Our students have gotten into participating in this actively. So last year we had student-led dances. We have a family from Ireland where the father and the grandfather, who happened to be visiting, came and taught a couple of different Irish dances, and then students with Irish dance as well. So the students are looking forward again to showing their respect and comfort with different cultures. So I believe that they are preparing yet again another series of dances for our afternoon celebration. So that is what we have been up to and will be up to. I think we're right in line with the rest of the schools and what we're working on. It definitely has our own twist to it, but I know that we've made great progress this year. I'm looking forward to seeing what transpires for next year.
Thank you. Are there any questions from school committee members?
I just wanted to say thank you to Principal Whitten. It's a difficult conversation to consider that we may not be part of a presentation from you next year or the year after, but, on behalf of everyone, just thank you for all the great work, your professionalism, your just love of the Z School, and sharing that love with the students and teachers as we consider the reality that there may be someone across the table from us next year. The well-positioning of Z School to continue its trajectory of just growth and achievement has certainly been clearly defined in your multiple pathways that you've presented, not only for academics, but total school and community engagement. You can appreciate the work of the PTO and the partnership that's been formed because they've supported your academics, focus areas, your professional development for staff. But overall, last evening we talked about how important it was to make connections with students, and the varied and multiple ways that you have provided students to connect with the school, to connect with staff, and to find their own passion, given the variety of experiences they have at Z School. Just tremendous. So whoever may follow, needless to say, has big shoes to fill, but you have certainly created that pathway for them to be as successful as they can be. So thank you, and thank you to the PTO. She's left. She did an amazing job, and I'm sure the enthusiasm that she demonstrated this evening was part of your working with her and getting her as excited about the things that you've presented tonight. So just thank you for everything.
Thank you.
But there are 2 meetings still left, so.
Not off the hook yet.
Just amazing.
The next agenda item, summer enrichment program.
Well, this is definitely new business and something very exciting to share, thanks to the efforts of Greg Martineau and the team of folks that have been working with him to launch this new summer enrichment program. We often have referred to summer enrichment within the context of student support services or the great work that Rhoda Webb and her team does with English language learners, but this is an innovative approach to summer enrichment, and Greg,
So, thrilled to share with you this evening that we will be launching a summer enrichment program. We are partnering with Southborough, and the enrichment program will be an opportunity for students to engage in STEAM activities, so science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics is our theme. The course offerings are geared toward students who are in grades K through 8. And the program will run 3 weeks in July, beginning July 10th and ending the last week in July. And the program will be running Tuesday through Thursday, and there'll be 2 sessions each day in the morning. And students can select from a variety of offerings, and there's a lot of flexibility in terms of how students can participate. They can attend all 3 weeks. They can attend 1 week, 1 session, so there's a lot of different flexibility. And some of the course offerings that we're hoping to run are Marvelous Math Algebra, Gardening, Programming Robotics, Storybook STEM, Geocaching, Marvelous Math, Mindful Students, and all of the course offerings will be run by Northborough and Southborough educators. This year the program will be held at Trottier School, and then each year we'll alternate districts, so next summer we'll offer it at Milliken School.
So are you going to be, I'm sorry to interrupt, I'm just curious to know, is it going to be equal number, Northborough and Southborough?
So what we did was we solicited teachers who would be interested in teaching in the program. And it worked out that there was a pretty close match of Northborough educators and Southborough educators.
And for students as well?
And so we have not communicated this out to the community yet. We'll be sharing this with the Southborough School Committee next Wednesday, and then we'll be sending home information to families on April 12th, and parents will have an opportunity to enroll their children in the program if they wish. It is self-funded, so it is based on tuitions, and to attend one session per week is $75. For 2 sessions per week is $150. And again, there's flexibility in how many sessions and how many weeks a student may participate. So more information to parents will be sent out on April 12th.
Nice.
Nice. Fantastic.
We're excited. A lot of great work by a lot of folks. It's sort of been a dream for years and finally coming to fruition. And gives an opportunity to continue their summer experience, having some fun, meeting some new classmates potentially at some point, and very affordable for parents. So, in a variety of options. So,
Great work.
So ESY and ELL programming will be built into it?
no, it's,
Separate?
yeah, Greg, you wanna-
Yeah, so it is 2 separate programs. But we have future plans to integrate the 2. But this year, we're starting very small with a simple goal, with the hopes of gaining momentum and actually really connecting the 2 ESY program and this program to meet the needs of our kids.
open to all students.
Yes.
Well, that's great news. That's fantastic. Another additional offering. Thank you.
I'd like to take some of the classes myself.
Yeah.
I'm not working on budget.
You don't meet the age requirement.
That's cruel. Probably true, but maybe we can have an adult summer ed program as this develops.
The next item on our agenda is the approval of grants and donations. Should we lump all of these? Can we lump all of these?
We certainly can. I know that the principals might want to add some updates or some comments about each of the grants. We're always excited that folks are thinking of our schools and donating to betterment of opportunities for our students, so I know that our principals might want to add something if it's specific to their school. And certainly, we'd like the school committee to accept them as we move through this.
So can they present on each and then we'll vote?
Yes.
Or vice versa?
We can take one each at a time.
The
and-
context would be?
Yep.
Yep.
So the first one is, the first T, and we think we actually talked a little bit about this, but it seemed like that was pre-winter storm alert. So to get a refresher on this, now that the golf season is out and the clubs are in the golf bags and people are walking around the courses, it might be nice to get a little bit of a refresher.
More snow.
Yeah, let's not hope so. To get fluorescent golf balls if that's the case.
I can speak to the grant that I received from the, Proctor received a grant, the 5th graders wrote one for the Northborough Garden Club. So this year we started a green team with the 5th graders, and this is their second grant that they received. The first one was for recycling materials to help increase our efforts with paper and plastics in the school. They've done public service announcements, gone into the cafeteria with the younger students, showed them how to use it. And then this one is an effort to beautify the front of Proctor underneath our sign and to have some funds to purchase, gardening materials, some plants that we can put in there. So we're working on next what we'd like to purchase through the generosity of the Northborough Garden Club. Hopefully with the snow ending soon, we'll be able to dig into the soil, literally, and stop shoveling, and we'll be able to beautify the front of Proctor.
So we received a grant from the New England Dental Group, and we've partnered with them for a number of years during Halloween season, and they buy back some of our candy, and for however many pounds of candy that we can have our students bring back and bring to the dental practice, they pledge a certain amount of money to the school. So along the same lines as what you're doing, Alana, we are reinstating the Lincoln Street School Garden, And that was kind of the brainstorm of our therapeutic learning classroom as something that would be a great project for those students. We happen to have a custodian who truly is a master gardener, and health office, our nurses, and our gym teacher will partner with the therapeutic classroom to resume our garden once again, so we'll be putting the funds towards that.
And our $1,000 grant, I came from, I mentioned earlier, Andrew Lee, an 8th grader here, participated in Who Wants to Be a Mathematician back in January out in San Diego, and he was the youngest participant ever, and he came in 3rd, so he got $1,000 and we get $1,000, so we're excited. His passion for math here has really kind of reached a lot of us, and so we are going to use the money to buy some supplies, and as well as some version of uniforms for our math team for next year, because he was such an active participant in the math team, and it's a vibrant club here and team, so we want to keep moving that one forward.
So I know you were active in the first tee. I do have the letter if you want.
I am not a
talk
golfer,
about it at all.
but I'll do my best. I believe at the last professional development program, the physical education teachers had made a connection with First Tee, and they came and provided professional development of how to incorporate golf into physical education. So I believe that the grant will provide our schools with golf equipment. There was the professional development piece too, and I believe, don't put this in the minutes, I think they will be coming back to do another session with the staff. I think that's how the whole thing works. But it definitely will touch all 5 schools in Northborough in the K-8, so that students can have that opportunity to try golfing. I will not be in that group, but I think that I know the phys ed teachers are very excited about this opportunity. Again, it's a lifelong sport. It gets kids up and active. You're competing with yourself. So it presents physical education in a different way. So if anybody has anything else? Yes?
No, you got it all.
Oh, there you go.
You did a great job.
Excellent. I'll fill in some details with a letter that I actually have a sheet in front of me so I can fill in the details. But it's sponsored by Bose Corporation, and actually it's been a borough sponsorship, and what is included in that is a full set of age-appropriate equipment, online training for the physical education teachers, curriculum manuals and materials for each school, and they've been sponsoring this program for some time, and all of that is at no charge as part of the program, the First National T-School program. Just really trying to get the younger members of our community to love golf and tee off.
I move that we approve the very generous donation from Bose Corp. In the amount of $6,000 per school for the First Tee National School Program Grant, the $100 grant from the Northborough Garden Club to the Proctor School 5th grade green team, the $195 from the New England Dental Group's grant to Lincoln Street School for Operation Gratitude, and the $1,000 from the American Mathematical Society for Malcolm Middle School.
Thank you.
Second.
Any further discussion?
I do have one other item. NEF was scheduled to be with us this evening and is probably going to share this information. Marilee Borden shared with me some information that's very exciting. Because of the weather conditions and the constant reschedules, we hope that they'll be here next month to present. But they received their first platinum donation of $10,000 from a local financial agency called Sullivan and Kreis Financial, and they're a small firm within our school communities, and they are a platinum sponsor in the amount of $10,000. And as we know, through our great work with NEF, that money will find its way, I'm sure, some way to our schools. So I did want to share that. There'll be some additional information about that coming. And NEF still continues to donating. Most recently, Marilee called and shared with me that they had received a surprise donation, and could any of our schools use some Chromebooks? And Melican came to mind because Michelle had probably just shared her need, And it was something that we had budgeted in her technology plan, and maybe we're not always able to fund. And so I think it's 5 Chromebooks, right? Or 10?
They're working on the
Could be 10.
numbers and,
Somewhere between 5 and 10.
Yes.
Will be headed to Milliken.
yes.
So
Excellent.
again, the gift that keeps on giving and the donation that really makes a difference in our schools.
Can I just add the firm that you mentioned who made the donate, they have a connection with a child who attends our schools and possibly an older one who might have already graduated. So they obviously have good feelings about the school district.
Great.
All good news.
Great. Well, we do still have a motion on the table. If there's no further discussion, I'll take a vote. All in favor? And it's unanimous.
And as usual, and as customary, we'll be following up with a thank you letter on behalf of the Northborough School Committee.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Really helps to augment our budget.
Absolutely.
Which is extremely tight, so it's nice that there are these opportunities for our students that are in addition to regular budget items. The next item on the agenda, principal search committees.
I'd much rather talk about donations, maybe not move off of this item number 3. But as we know, congratulations are in order to both Principal Parson and Principal Witten, but for different reasons, both beginning.
I won't be confused.
One
beginning,
one continuing, both new careers, or at least new pathways, and congratulations to both. And as such, we do need to form search committees, and the communications were distributed previously, but just as a review, the Lincoln Street Elementary School principal search has begun. I want to thank members of our school community who have stepped forward and expressed their interest in serving on the committees. Lincoln Street has met twice, and we anticipate, as we move forward with the process, that interviews with potential candidates will be on April 10th, scheduled on April 10th and April 11th. We're not sure if we need both days, but that's the ultimate date we've set aside for actual interviews. We'll continue to update the school committee, and by the time May rolls around, we may actually have some site visits by candidates. So thank you to Patty Kress for serving on this committee.
I admit, I requested that, as I've been, so dedicated to Lincoln Street School, so involved with it, and the committee, I can't say enough good things about the screening committee, about the members of the committee. Alana's our principal representative. Thank you so much, because it is a big commitment to do. But we have a great group, and the parents that are represented on the committee are have been. I recognize them. I just know how involved that they have been with the school, with the PTO, and it's great to have some very connected, dedicated parents on the committee. And the whole committee is just a great group. So.
And I want to thank Rebecca Pellegrino, who is our Human Resource Director. She is the facilitator of this search. And then we move on to Sue Witten's principal search, which the communication was distributed April 2nd, and we have not yet formed the committee. Interested applicants or interested members of the school community have until Friday to submit their letter of interest. We will be making this selection quickly, and we have dates identified for this committee. We are looking for a school committee member to serve on this committee. If you're able to participate based on the meeting schedule, and Rhoda Webb, who spends a lot of time at Z, will be facilitating the search committee. So it's very much in its infancy. We haven't picked the selection of the search committee yet, and then we're hoping that interviews can be conducted on Thursday, May 3rd, and if necessary, on Friday, May 4th. So we're moving forward. We do not want to move a candidate forward unless when that candidate's name is announced, we have goosebumps, because we're thinking about the next principal. And we have, I've met with the Lincoln Street Search Committee and really just said, to them, we want the right candidate. We just don't want any candidate. If we find that we're not at that place and we're not ready to move someone on, we will start the search again. As we know, we don't settle for just anyone to take this leadership role on, and we have allowed enough time, I think, for another search to continue if necessary. So I just wanted to provide that updates,
And
those
that's-
updates.
That has happened in the past, in the not-so-distant past, if I recall correctly, where we've had to do an additional.
We've gone out several times for different searches over the years.
Any other committee discussion on principal search committees? No? All right. Move on to town meeting. April, I think it's April, is it April 26th?
23.
Thank you.
Monday after April vacation.
And back in January, we quickly discussed some of the articles we would be bringing forward at town meeting and who would be reading the articles. So we have Article 6 is going to be the Northborough K-8 budget. Mr. Kane, you volunteered to
Yep.
read that one. Are you still up
Oh, yeah.
for that? Okay, great.
I'm around.
For the capital improvement plan Z school budget, I volunteered.
The boiler?
And for the boiler, so I still volunteer to do that one. There is another article come out, well, for the regional ones.
There's a
So
budget
we-
article and a stabilization fund, the establishment of the stabilization fund line item that does need to go before town meeting for a vote. And it's not funded, it's just establishing the line item in the budget. So there are two regional.
Two regionals, so if you're gonna be there,
Yeah.
if Joan can't make it, I think
Yeah.
she did, might have volunteered for those.
If she's there, great. If not, I can read them both.
And as customary, we'll meet as a committee
Mhm.
before the start of town meeting. But there is one other article I wanted committee members to be aware of. It's Article number 32, and it's because it involves Malkin Middle School. I thought it would be, we should inform the committee members. I happened to be watching the Board of Selectmen meeting when they discussed the warrant articles, and thrilled that the town, and along with the Community Preservation Committee, is bringing forward Article number 32 to appropriate the sum of $285,250 from the Community Preservation Unreserved Fund, and an additional $2,000 from the reserves to go for site investigation, engineering services, electrical service upgrade, and surface restoration associated with Phase 1 of a project for replacement of the field lighting at the Milliken Middle School. I think that's great that the fields here will be improved with that much of an investment of our community preservation funds. And I certainly support the article, and I wanted to make my fellow committee members aware of this separate article that will be coming before town meeting. Perhaps we could even vote our approval on this warrant article, or
It,
if,
well, it doesn't really come through the town, and it's not through the budget process per se.
it's not
We
our
could do-
oversight, it's definitely a town, because it's not the building, it's the grounds, so that has town oversight on
property,
those.
yeah.
So you're right, it doesn't really
It's-
come under
It's not really our
our,
purview, but, go ahead.
If I might offer
Yeah.
a compromise, it may be that the committee wants to consider a vote in support of the CPC, so that it's taken some position, but not an official vote. I know that's taken place in other districts, and so what has been requested, if asked for, is whether there's been a position taken in support of this, since it's in that gray area between school property but adjacent, but on school property. So it might be a positive message to send it, if asked, that we did take a vote in support of this CPC article, but not necessarily approving it.
Yeah. I move that we vote on a statement of support for the article in question as read by Mrs. Kress.
Seconded.
thank Great. Any further discussion on it?
It's exciting.
I'm very excited about new lights.
You want new
out back.
lights.
So when I'm here late, they'll be on
I'm gonna
them.
flip those lights on even when, I want to just walk out there under the lights.
And in true town of Northborough fashion, it is a phased process, so it will be multiple years before this happens. But when it takes time, it's worth the wait. And I've found that for certain projects in town, it's certainly been worth the wait. So it's nice I think it's a nice step in the right direction. All in favor? Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Good.
I will
Great,
pass
thank
that
you.
along if asked.
Thank you. Any other discussion for town meeting?
So just some clarification, town meeting begins at 7, I believe?
7:30, no?
7:30?
7:30.
Algonquin,
Yeah.
7.
Monday the 23rd.
But when will the committees be?
7:30. Do you want, how about a post for 7? Since there's no
Sure.
Yeah.
real discussion? And
I
we
agree.
will find a room
Yep.
and
Get the
post it
room.
on the room.
And that sounds great.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you.
Post for 7, for us to go into session, and then 7:30 for town meeting.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay.
So we'll move into old business and full-day kindergarten update.
The full-day kindergarten update is that we continue to meet, and Sue was at our last meeting. And I know that when this topic came up, I think early on in the budget season, there was a lengthy conversation about the work that this committee, working group, has done over the last 2 years. I think we've been meeting for about 2 or 3 years. And that, in fact, I think the committee took a position that they supported the movement or the exploration of moving to a full free-day kindergarten model, just so that we have some perspective on what that means. Right now, and I say right now because our kindergarten numbers are not set for next year, and it continues to change based on how much revenue we actually collect in tuitions, but it's approximately a 50-50 cost share between tuition and budget, and that actually means that it's about $400,000, a little, somewhere between $350 and $400, that we're talking about moving on to operational, to move towards that model. I believe when we had the conversation, I did share that that's taking place in another district, and it's taken about 3 to 4 years after 2 or 3 years of conversation, and it was a transition on to operation. So it's something that we would probably reconsider again as we establish our budget priorities for next year, and at that point, we will have a more definitive picture in terms of what the expenditures are in FY19. We'll have our enrollment numbers, we'll have how many folks are on waivers, sliding scale waivers for tuition, and what that financial landscape looks like in the FY19 season, which will give us an opportunity to have a more knowledgeable discussion about if we want to move or consider moving a piece of that onto the FY20 budget. So it's, that's basically what the position is. It's about a 50-50 split right now between revolving and budget. And our kindergarten cost with current enrollment is slightly under $800,000. So that would put us in that $350,000 to $400,000 range moving on to operation.
So there's definitely no drop in tuition for fiscal year 19.
No.
And I think that was always spoken about, and I remember the presentation, and it was not going to happen for fiscal year 19.
No.
But are you still projecting, I know it's a whole year away to be talking about fiscal year 20 budget, but do you still foresee some drop in tuition? Because I know it was going to be gradual, so it wasn't expected to be a complete wipe of the tuition, but do you still foresee some possibility of a reduction in the kindergarten tuition for fiscal year 20?
So having moved in that direction
Yeah.
in another district and having some practice to rely on, it is definitely too soon to even project what that would look like.
Yeah.
And based on the budgeting realities and the ability to slowly move on to operational budget. With this amount of money, considering the percent of increases that we have been able to realize year to year, that consistent percent of increase, it would so much depend on what our needs are in any given year, where we are able to realize opportunities to even move things onto budget because of either drops in enrollment, changes in expenditures that we have now. This year, we had no one very few, I think one person retired. And we know that those are those opportunities that we seize. So those opportunities need to present themselves in order for us to capitalize on those and then consider using that opportunity to move in some of the K tuition or K kindergarten costs from tuition onto budget. So there's lots of conversations that would need to take place. Anything's possible, but to look at any large-scale reduction in tuition in the FY20 budget, at this point, given the budgeting realities that we're confronted with and the needs that we present each year and the likelihood of us having retirements, if our grants are funded to a higher degree than we anticipate and circuit breaker becomes fully funded, and those are some of the opportunities that we might have a window to have these kinds of conversations. But as a committee, if this is a budget priority that we are going to discuss each and every year, with this amount of money, given the budget landscape, we're looking at a 3 to 5 year window at best, with gradual and small decreases in tuition. But it's possible. There's just so many moving variables right now, but really something that would be exciting to continue to talk about. If for no other reason, just to make sure that it's on our radar.
Right.
And that we're being mindful of opportunities to have this discussion. I think it would be a decision of we can fund this or we can move to operational budget, some of the kindergarten costs. And that's really the discussions that have taken place in the other district where we've moved in that direction now and have been able to have small declines in
Yeah.
tuition.
I think even a small decline.
Yep.
If a small decline was even possible.
Possible.
Even a small decline possible for fiscal year '20, I think it would be a nice step in the right direction. Even if it takes
Agreed.
longer to get there, worth the wait.
Exciting
Would be a nice-
conversations to continue
would be a nice
in
start.
September.
Following that in the future. Any other comment or discussion on full-day kindergarten? So then we'll move right into enrollments.
You have in your packet the enrollments for not only current enrollments, but projected enrollments. You'll see
Some pretty
five.
red circles.
It's red, we have red circles. We have created a wait list already, and that we are entering our third year of implementing this policy. And again, I just have to applaud the efforts of Nancy Bissett and the work and the collaboration with our schools to make this policy be as successfully implemented as possible. I think one of the things that we see happening is that it's less and less conversation about what the enrollment process means, because it's been something we've done now for 2 years. So we do have a wait list. Last year, this time, we had 8 red circles on the board instead of 6, so I think that's an improvement. But clearly, we're following suit, continuing our good practice. And in May, the May meeting, we will have those dates that we provided last year, when we're going to notify folks that they've been moved off the wait list and/or whether and which school they've been redistricted to. Again, I think we've talked about the fact that our bus company, NRT, will be doing our routes for us this year, and hopefully that information will be transmitted to them within the next couple of weeks so that they can begin the routing. And if that's possible, it's even going to streamline even more so our transportation discussions with parents, because the routes will already be predetermined. So again, good work by the team, and and that wait list is continuing. So the good news is the students are coming our way, because we do have a wait list and we know enrollment's happening.
Yeah.
How many students do we have on the wait list?
So kindergarten is fairly popular, and first grade. So last year it was second and third grade, and we probably have about 10 or 12, which is a good number for this early in the season. You know, usually we start seeing our enrollments really increase if there's going to be a shift around June and July, as parents are starting to make their decisions, so.
I think what I love looking at this is I see the wiggle room. And it's a relief to me to see, yes, we have classes that are filled up, but there is room for them to go.
At every grade.
In every grade level,
Yeah.
there's room.
And multiple choices, which is also, that allows for those twins and triplets that we saw last year. We had 10 sets of twins or something, or 10, and then we had multiple siblings moving in, that, unlike what we observed in the previous year. So who knows what this year will bring. But we're ready, and
Yeah.
we do have multiple options, which is good.
You do. It's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thanks to Nancy for her hard work on this. So next item on the agenda is the fiscal year 18 monthly general fund expenditure report.
Well, there's a lot of eyes on this budget,
Yeah.
particularly Matt is hyper-focused on this as we move closer to the end of the year. And so, in your packet, we would appreciate a vote to approve until audited. Mr. Kane?
I move that we approve the general fund expenditure report dated March 31st, 2018, as is until audited.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous.
I
Thank
will
you.
say that Northborough did qualify for extraordinary relief on circuit breaker. We don't know really what that means at this point, other than we've submitted all the documentation. Obviously, we hope that we are awarded some additional circuit breaker funding through the extraordinary relief initiative, but we won't know that for a little while. And also from Tom Scott, who is the executive director of MASS, which is the superintendent's organization, through a lot of work by our own committee to ask the legislator to review circuit breaker funding for this year. In my box this morning, Representative Benson is working with Representative Peisch on filing an amendment to fully fund the circuit breaker account at the coalition's recommendation of $36.6 million. It is on the House calendar for Thursday, with amendments due in tomorrow. And we will have an amendment number and other information from the Superintendent's Association, which I can share. And of course, as always, they urge us to contact our legislators to support the full funding of circuit breaker for not only next year, but to return this year to the levels that it was anticipated to be at, which was around 75 as opposed to the 65 that we realized. So if that happens this year, then we have some relief. And if next year happens, we have some relief for those unanticipated tuitions that may be realized throughout the year that really stress the operational budget. So we're going to be watchful over this. If and when I do have that information, I'll share it out to the committee members, and we'll certainly give our legislators a call. So that's good news. Not sure where it's going to head, but certainly better than not heading anywhere.
Right. That is. So also in the packet is the budget calendar. Noted next item on this calendar, town meeting, April 23rd, which we just discussed. We have,
Someone's optimistic. Cheryl was really optimistic that we're going to be sending that approved budget out. It's already on the calendar, so let's hope that that comes to fruition. And at this point, you know, as we know, our boards all support our budget enthusiastically, so
excellent.
hope for a great town meeting.
Great.
And the approved budget, with the vote that was taken in anticipation of, is that $610 is reflected in the budget. We will change the date on this, and just note that it was revoted as of for distribution.
Fantastic, thank you. So no educational policy, none at this time. Policy development, there was a combined policy meeting Monday evening. Our agenda had already been posted, but they were all policy that are for all the committees, Northborough, Southborough, and Region. And so those will come forward. Well, I think the combined policy, we said we would bring forward to Northborough in case there were concerns that were specific to Northborough, and then they will all still come forward at combined for a combined vote for the combined in May.
So we'll look at a first read in May,
May.
and then look at the combined vote in June.
Yep.
So,
Yes.
can I just edit that just slightly? And it was a full meeting. It was great. We had quorums for all three committees, so we actually had a lot of opportunity to get things done.
And thanks for the new policy that allows alternates. I stepped in.
So we had quorums, which was wonderful. And so, in order to be ready for the vote at combined in June, which is our last meeting, because some of these policies are time sensitive, we want them in place for the start of the school year, if not by mandate, but by practice. The determination was made that each of the policies that were discussed would be brought back to the individual school committee meetings, school committees, for first reads in most cases, the two other, Regional and Southborough, there was time to change the agenda, so they'll be brought back to those individual committees for first reads in April, with a second read in May, ready to vote in June. And then, because our agenda was already established, we will still have time to follow that cycle. First read in May, second read in June, because our meeting is scheduled prior to the combined meeting. In which case, then, all three committees will have had an opportunity to edit and to have individual committee input, so that when we vote at the combined, and there are about 5 of them, so when we reconvene as a combined meeting, we can vote them hopefully all through. And with 5 being voted, that would be phenomenal. I think that's a record for a vote in June.
So look forward to those policies coming in May for school. And also in the packet this evening is the policy that was approved in January. We haven't had a full meeting since January because of snow. So included in the packet is approved policy B100, annual policy review. And any other comments or discussion on policy development? Move into audience, and I'll start with the audience. Seeing none.
I cleared out the house.
I will welcome our administration. Should they have anything to share?
I just wanted to thank Maggie McGinty and Kathy Lazzotti for an amazing math night last Thursday at Algonquin. They put together such a well-organized evening, and Northborough was certainly well-represented with our families. And it was just a really fun night for families to come out, engage in different math activities and games. The kids were very excited about it. The families really enjoyed it. The parents had excellent feedback. So without the two of them, that event wouldn't have happened. So I just wanted to thank them for that. The kids were talking about it the next day. And I also wanted to thank two groups from Algonquin. The Spanish Club has been partnering with Lori Miller, our ELD teacher, and running an after-school Spanish club. And it was so successful the first go-around back in the fall that we're running it again. And we have students signed up now from grades 2 through 5. The club comes down, they partner with Lori Miller, and they engage in different Spanish-speaking activities, and it's very hands-on, multi-sensory, and the students love it. And I just can't say enough about the students that come down to help with that. They're just so professional, they're warm, they're caring, they're enthusiastic, so that's been a nice addition to bring that to Proctor. And also to the boys' basketball team. They had come to read to after many reschedulings due to snow. We did our Read Across America Day, don't even remember what day it was in March, but they were just like superstars to those children, to the boys and the girls, and they went in and they read in every classroom and they engaged with the students and they talked about what it means to be a student athlete and what they have to do to balance school and athletics, and just had a really positive message. And for some of our students who need those positive male role models, they were just top notch. So I wanted to thank the boys basketball team. And lastly, our spring fair is Saturday from 10 to 2. So if you don't have any plans and you want to stop, we have the theme is emojis this year. So it's all emojis. It's a very happy theme with lots and lots of activities. So you're welcome to join us from 10 to 2.
And I would like to echo what Alana said about the family math night. The feedback from children and families has been tremendous. So it's a really successful evening for everyone. Following up on that, Peasley School has our own STEAM night tomorrow evening from 6:30 to 8. Faculty and staff have been working very hard to prepare a family event for children and parents to participate in some STEAM-related activities together during the evening. And then next week, we have the Wizards basketball team coming to play the Northborough Breakers. We have some members of our central office administration, including Jump Shot Johnson, who's coming to play. And we also have faculty, staff, and administrators from the Northborough schools. So it is a big family event, a big community event for all of our schools together. It will be held at Algonquin in the gym on Thursday, April 12th at 7 p.m.
Bench warming soon.
I'd like to thank the Lincoln Street PTO for a new event that we held last night, which was a game night where families were able to come in and try out different games. So we had a whole host of games. Children and families came and had an opportunity to play them and purchase them if they were interested. Our PTO was interested in holding something like this prior to the April vacation, knowing that many of us as parents struggle with our kids on electronics, and we thought that some more old-fashioned traditional games might be a nice feature for our families. So that was last night, and our PTO was also good about being flexible with the scheduling of that to support any families who wanted to attend the safety night as well, so that worked out well. I also wanted to mention that we have brought back the Lincoln Street School Boston Marathon Challenge. That was something that we had done prior to the construction, where our phys ed teacher challenged our students to exercise or do something equivalent to a mile a day for 26 days leading up to the marathon, with the culminating event of a 1-mile fun run around the school. But due to construction and grass that wasn't supposed to be touched or trampled on, we've had to put a hold on that, but we're bringing that back this year. And so shortly after the April break, we'll finish that up with the fun run. The last thing I wanted to mention is tomorrow, for the first time, we have a first grade musical performance that will be put on by our first graders and our music teacher, Katrina Whalen. Also our two new first grade teachers, Kimberly Coffin and Lori Caldecott. And I think they really deserve a lot of kudos. One transferred from 4th grade and one from 5th grade into 1st grade this year, and they've really created a very dynamic team. So in conjunction with our music teacher, they have quite the event scheduled for us tomorrow with students who are so excited and have memorized their lines, and it's going to be a very nice event all along the themes of friendship and empathy.
Well, I feel like I've missed a few months here with things, so I need to publicly thank Alan Phelps, our music teacher, and Tracy Downey, one of the instructional aides at the Z School, for taking on the directorship and assistant directorship for our drama club presentation of Mother Goose Incorporated, which was shown in March. We had to reschedule for snow, which was very disappointing for one group. But both Alan and Tracy throw their heart and souls into helping these children learn how to take the stage and perform and present and share the limelight with each other. So it's a great production. And, you know, again, it's their leadership that helps our students have these types of opportunities. I also need to acknowledge Jeanette Morgan and Meg Varnes, who are two parent volunteers who run our long-standing environmental club. They are planning lots of activities for the week of April 23rd, which is our Earth Week. So some activities during the week, and then culminating with a parallel activity to the Louise Houle Town Cleanup on Saturday the 28th, which will be at the Z School. And then finally, an invitation, our challenge course that Regan DeSimone has continued from Pizzerine is up and running and wild and crazy as ever in the Z School gym. So if you like to climb to new heights, you want to challenge yourself, or just see the types of opportunities that are available for students to take risks in a very safe place, feel free to stop by either this week or next week. If you bring your bike helmet, you can climb and see what it looks like from the ceiling of the gymnasium to look on down. So I invite you to come by. Want to try?
It's tempting.
It's always last. Michelle's always last.
I know, it's awesome.
So there's a lot going on in Milliken, as there always is, but I wanted just to highlight a couple things. Our instrumental music program has been very busy and very successful over the last couple of months. And despite the snow, our 7th and 8th grade jazz band traveled to the UNH Jazz Festival, as did Trotter, without much practice because we had so many days off, including the day before the actual festival. But we were awarded the top honor for outstanding performance. They only award 2 of those, and Trotter got the other one. So out of 14 in the division, pretty impressive. And Brent Ferguson actually called me the Friday. He's like, I don't know if we should go or not. And I said, well, what do you think? Oh, I don't know. I said, the kids are probably excited to get out of the house. Just go for it. See who comes. And everybody came except for one student who was sick. So really proud of them for performing so well. We had our 21st annual Milliken Middle School Jazz Night a couple of weeks ago. So that event entails a visiting musician coming in during the day to work with our 6th grade stage band as well as our 7th and 8th grade jazz band, and then a concert at night. And so the 6th grade stage band played, 7th and 8th grade jazz band, and then a group of adult musicians form a big band in place, which is really neat for the kids to sort of see the progression, and it's impressive to see how much they grow over the course of the year in terms of the way they're able to improvise, and they're just wonderful. And then recently we attended the Micah Festival. Our 6th grade concert band earned a bronze medal. Our 7th grade concert band and our 8th grade concert band each received silver medals. So again, very proud of them. And then last week we had our 5th grade parent orientation, and our 6th grade stage band always plays as people are settling in, and they just sounded remarkable. I just think about them as 5th graders last year, and we had 140 parents or so there, so it was really nice. So just really proud of our musicians, the support that the community has for the music program, the support that families give their children. The jazz and stage bands rehearse before and or after school, before school, early morning, and or after school and at night. So it's an extra commitment on the part of the students and their families. So proud of them. And then secondly, I really wanted to highlight our guidance department. This is the first year we've had a 3rd guidance counselor, so 1 per grade, and the difference that one person can make in a counseling department is just amazing in terms of the supports they can offer individual kids and small groups of kids. But a real change this year has been the ability for each guidance counselor to get into every single classroom of students at their grade level. So our 6th grade guidance counselor, Jen Johnson, has gotten into all 10 6th grade sections. Twice. She's working on her 3rd time. So the first time was about sort of what school counselors do, executive functioning and study skills. 2nd time was about peer conflict resolution and kindness, and now she's working on tolerance and acceptance with the kids. The 7th grade guidance counselor got into all the classes, did a session on mindfulness and self-care, got back in to do some work with them on tolerance and empathy, which we all need here and there. And our 8th grade guidance counselor, Lauren O'Neill, has gotten in 3 times as well. She's currently in health classes, helping our health teachers teach about depression, anxiety, and things like that. So really I'm proud of the work that they're doing and the curriculum that they're developing. And then finally, Our spring sports started up this week despite the weather, so our track team has been practicing in the cafeteria, baseball team in our small gym, and our softball team in the back gym, but they're so excited to be playing, so we can't wait to get them outside, and Allie Lane from the rec department is partnering with us to try to help us get the fields ready. So, again, a nice collaborative effort from the town as well, so lots going on, and really proud of our students.
Can I add one tidbit on Milliken and say how proud I am about how Milliken handled the Day of Remembrance for the Parkland students. Probably, I saw some video that was taken by a student, and
That's not allowed.
it was exactly as you had described it in the email to parents. They were very quiet, it was very respectful, and I'm grateful that you gave the students that opportunity to show their respect and to honor in their way what had happened and the students that passed. So thank you for that opportunity, and that did go very well. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Wow. We're obviously up to our ears, and we went to math night, so I echo the appreciation for the math specialist, Miss McGinty. What's the other one's name, the new one?
Lazzotti.
Miss Lazzotti as well. Yeah, fantastic. Lots of good turnout. We were involved in the musical, and I'm hearing about the challenge course right now. So we attended the orientation at Milliken, so very exciting to be involved in on both sides of all these things happening in the district, and much appreciated. And thank you for your service, both of you, as you continue on your journeys.
Pleasure.
It's a lot of work. It's an understatement. I'm married to a teacher, so I know what it's like.
So I, as you know, was appointed as our school committee liaison to the town master plan steering committee. After a snow delay, we did actually meet in March. So that's kicking off now. We had introductions, met the consultant team who's going to help develop the plan, and members of various other town boards are also on the committee, as well as some residents, and it was nice to meet some new faces and get that process started. And we're working on scheduling the rest of the meetings for the remainder of the process, and they're thinking that's going to look to be a 12 to 18-month process, and I look forward to updating you in the future on those meetings and how they turn out.
Thank you for volunteering to be on that committee. It's always an extra time challenged when you add it, something like that, but I do think it's very important that the school committee be represented on that town-wide planning committee, so thank you so much for doing that.
Many of the members had all good things to say about the schools and how our community is just very proud of all the hard work that we do here.
It's great feedback, thank you.
And it's that time of year. So Friday night, first question will be around 7:30, but the 9th annual Team Trivia Night at the Doubletree in Westborough. I know there's a small donation if people want to attend. People are watching this at home. But it's one of my favorite nights of the year. So I'm looking forward to seeing any of you at the wonderful NEF Team Trivia Night. So see you Friday.
You'll be the master of ceremonies?
I will be the MC again. We have a tentative yes from Harold Naughton to be judge, so if we have any questions or comments that we want to lobby towards our elected representative, he should be there.
And we do have a slot open on Top Hats. Joan Frank is not able to attend, so anyone who would like to join Mr. Martineau and myself and Sue on that committee, we have an opening. We have a tentative Northborough Regional.
John, are you interested?
He's the
Since I came up with most of the
master
questions, I don't think that'd be, really
We could use all the help
equitable,
we
okay?
can,
Yeah,
actually.
exactly. I'll slide notes across the
We're
table.
sort of a bottom feeder when we play, but Lynn Winter has, the regional Northborough has offered to participate, but we still have, we've always managed to have 4 or 5
There's a long tradition of people being able to change teams in the middle of the
Yes.
event. Charles, I think, floated on 3 or 4 for the inaugural one, so.
Absolutely. So we do have that. If your schedule changes and you'd like to join us, we'll be there.
A lot of fun.
Great evening.
Be a good night.
I'm not able to attend this year. Sharon?
I would like to once again thank our administrative team and school committee members for participating in last night's Safe School, Making the Connection, Safe School, Safe Community. Particular appreciation is extended to the fire chief, Dr. Ferranti, Bill Iver, Chief of Police, and our extraordinarily well-connected to our students' school resource, and our school's school resource officer, Detective Bissett. It was well-attended. I think, based on the feedback that I received today, the parents appreciated the opportunity to be present and to learn and to hear more about our safe school protocols, which are many and varied and multifaceted, as any safety plan should be. And just listening to each of you share what has taken place and what will take place, I think brings to life the title of our presentation, which was Making Connections, and the importance and the most foundational piece of a good, safe school readiness plan is to build those connections through partnerships, collaborations, and creating an environment where kids, as Sue well put it, are able and comfortable to take risks within a safe learning and a school environment. And perhaps, NCAT, the best way to demonstrate what our school safe readiness plan is about is to make sure this follows, because that really speaks to the essence of our plan and the importance of making those connections, whether it's at the spring fair where we invite in our parents, or the opportunities that we provide for students within a school day, or the outreach by Maggie and Kathy in terms of inviting students, parents, teachers, and everyone to a math night, to have students excited about math the next day and continuing to talk about that experience along with the parents is phenomenal. And that is the essence of a good, safe school. So thank you for bringing life to the words that we shared last night. And to all those parents who participated by being present, and to all those who would have liked to have been present, but their schedule and their day did not provide, I hope that they have a chance to tune in to the presentation. And we're always available to answer questions at the building level or at the district level as well.
Thank you for organizing that. It was a good evening. Thank you. No? No more share? All right. So, personnel items.
Personnel report is in your packet. Just skip over the retirement of Sue Whitten and the resignation of Jen Carson, and then we can just look at the rest. But this is the personnel report for this month.
Communications.
So there are a number of communications. I'd just like to highlight a few of them. The summary of the conflict of interest law is our annual distribution of this required document. There is an attachment, which is the acknowledgement and receipt of. If after the end of this session, if you'd like to fill it out, I'd be happy to take it back with me to Central, and it will find its way to the appropriate department.
Isn't the town clerk needs that?
We've been collecting them,
You have
and they've
them?
said it's fine, but
Okay.
if you'd rather drop them off, that's up to you. Certainly, but so far they haven't rejected them.
I have brought mine into the town clerk's office.
So you're all set. The commissioner, this is just an announcement that we do have a new commissioner of education, and his name is Jeff Riley, who by now, common theme, a lot of rescheduling, demonstrates the resiliency on the part of our leadership team in our schools. To be able to have the fortitude to persevere with the storms and all of that we've had to deal with. But we do have a new commissioner effective April 5th, sworn in by Governor Baker. Actually, that's tomorrow, so we're not late. The storm did not change that date.
That's exciting news. So do we see some changes, perhaps, MCAS?
too soon to tell. I'm withholding my excitement until I see the first commissioner's report. Or a presentation to the Superintendent's Association. But this is exciting. Just when you think we have no other reason to celebrate Lincoln Street and the renovation, yet a very large plaque arrives at central office, and we open the box and we say, what is this? So it is a much coveted, after doing a Wikipedia search, and we know Wikipedia is always right, and finding out a little bit more about what this CHIPS award and very large plaque means. It means that from the Collaborative for High Performance Schools in the United States, we have been recognized as rating very high in this program, which is the first ever green building rating program designed for K-12 schools. CHIPS, as it's known, provides information and resources to schools in order to facilitate the construction and operation of a high-performance school, which is identified as a school that is energy and resource efficient, as well as healthy, comfortable, well-lit, and containing the amenities for a quality education. So again, kudos to everyone who was involved in the renovation of the Lincoln Street School project, and we're very excited about this. We will be celebrating this prestigious award with the entire school community. Just as we opened the school, I think we had cake that day, or all the kids were involved at every point, not cake.
Christine has a thing about cake.
I don't think about cake. Cupcakes. All along the way through the construction of the Lincoln Street, our students and our community have been involved, and they will again as we present the plaque on Thursday, April 12th, in the gymnasium at Lincoln Street. But wait, Jill, Dr. Barnhart mentioned that the Wizards were coming to town. We will be followed by a high-energy group of visitors to Lincoln Street School as the Harlem Wizards visit Lincoln Street. So that's a good day of celebration, or a good morning.
Boys and girls, you think you're going to see the Harlem Wizards, but really you're going to see a plaque.
We're really going to see a plaque, and then the Harlem.
The old bait and switch.
That's right, the old bait and switch. So that's going to be a wonderful way, and a great way for Jen to be again acknowledged for all of her work through the renovation project.
Patty, we heard the word chips many a time.
We did.
We always mention the chips incentives.
We need to find a wall where there's nothing on it in order for the plaque, which is about this big, to be presented. And then, once again, second annual International Night. Tremendous success last year, all due to the efforts of Rhoda Webb and her team. The International Night is scheduled for April 27th, 2018. Lots of food, lots of activity, lots of excitement and energy. Great way to collaborate with the newest members of our community. And so we're all looking forward to that evening. And that invitation is also in your packet.
Last year.
It was a great night.
So future agenda items.
It's a packed agenda. In addition to celebrating the approval of our budget, we have a number of items that will have the Lincoln Street School improvement.
Mm-hmm. We'll have first reads.
First reads, school choice.
To do that, yep. NEF.
NEF.
Oh, the field trip for Nature's Classroom.
For next year.
And the Stone Environmental.
Approval. And Julie Doyle, our tech director, Director of Instructional Technology, Digital Literacy,
Yay.
will be coming to each school committee to give us an update in terms of the work that she's done so far, the conversations that she's had, and the direction that she hopes to move us in next year as she
Nice.
takes on this role. So she'll be presenting as well.
So it was on the agenda in executive session, but we don't believe there is a need for that. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn, unless there is any other business which may legally come before the committee.
I move that we adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor? Thanks, everyone.